Kinetic Carl here in my super secret Kinetic lab in the middle of January. Just checking to see how the flooding's doing out here. A little wetness at the doorway. Not surprising, there's a hole in the side of the house. Right there you can see daylight through it just above the door. Yeah, the old Who's Your Daddy hanging out, setting up on blocks. Oh, it looks like it's even in gear. So right now I think it's in four-wheel drive actually. Every now and then I forget I come out here and I'm supposed to turn the tires just a little bit. They've got tire slime in them. And after I get off film, maybe, I don't have a way to hold the camera out here. I didn't bring a tripod, but I'll pedal it a while so the wheels smear the glue around. It's been since what? Since May since they've had air put in them. And I think the front left is the leakiest one. I put it right by my driver's seat, so during race I can keep an eye on it. Yeah, it's the water drive and the kind of halfway. It's not the stow position. It's because of the height of the garage. In order to get through the garage door, it can't be in the upright position. Here, I don't know if we can see, but that's looking right into a light bulb, isn't it? There, get that light bulb out of the way. See how there's a gearbox here, the propeller, handmade, modeled after a bronze propeller for a big old 1940s human-powered lifeboat. I have the rowing mechanism is outside, but all I wanted to do was copy the propeller. It's modeled in wood and fiberglass. So this right here, you're going, why is the chain turned to a cable? Well, this is just for the steering. And then these two cables go up to the front handlebars on the right side, and they go around a pulley twice and have a clamp on them so they can't slip. And that just gives him the ability to control left and right on the water drive. And so this is part of the drive line. That's part of the steering. Then following the drive line back, see, we're gonna go through there'll be a flag in the way. So that's the water drive right there. Goes into this, not a gearbox, but this is the raise and lower mechanism. Again, it's not a complete loop of chain. The other end is connected to a cable and it all goes back to the crank. So basically that when you're pulling on the cable to raise the propeller mechanism, this is the part that actually raises it. You'll see this is on a gear. This gear is fixed to the frame, and so the axle just spins through this mechanism. It's not actually attached to this. It's attached to this. And then this is a gear ratio change down to up to I don't know. This small gear has to spin a lot more times because this big gear right here is the driver, and this is the driven, and you divide it in, I think it's a 6-to-1 ratio. So then this is a gearbox right here, and we're gonna look past the steer chain. Jeez, I gotta get some light in here for you. Okay, so this is the water drive right here that I'm lighting up real bright. That big sprocket there. Then in here is a clutch, which, or dog, a shift dog. It's not a clutch. It's got pins, and as the people pedal, this jack shaft in the center here spins. See if I can, there we go. So like here, I'm on a set of pedals. You see I'm turning that main jack shaft. Well, that main jack shaft, can be connected using this shift dog right here. And then all 10 people are pedaling the propeller in the water. Right now it's out of gear, so it's not taking any power away. This guy's in, the one I was pedaling by hand is this. Oh, and pedaling by hand with only one arm is really not easy, especially when he's got it in like a highway gear. Like last thing this guy was doing when he was pedaling was going pretty fast. But there's the drive shaft right down the center. Again, all the different bikes couple into it through two chains. The first chain is the like this. Excuse me, keep tripping over the bag of cans. Okay, so this right here, this loop of chain, like a regular mountain bike, 3 rings in front. I think it's 5 or 6 in the back, and then that they're pedaling that, and then there's a second sprocket on that hub where there would be spokes and disc brake right there. I'm lighting it up real bright. That is another sprocket. That's the one being driven by the 24 speed, and the output goes to the jack shaft. And on this side, this is actually a reversing loop. You'll see there's the, here, I'll light it up. Okay, so that's the driver sprocket, driven or driving. So it's pulling on this short bit of chain between it and the bottom sprocket. And as it pulls, the chain has to go around and it's going around the back side. This is a reversing loop, as like I say. One sprocket, this one being on the outside of the loop, and this one being on the inside of the loop of chain. And to do that, we take and use an idler here. They're both sprung, goes up to an idler over everything so you can get around itself, and then it pays back onto the driving sprocket, or no, it pays onto the driven sprocket, comes around, and just goes like this. If you had to follow it around. Whew, a lot to say. Anyhow, that's the Who's Your Daddy's reversing loop. This is the transition from the rear 4 pedalers right here. The drive shaft comes down. That has a telescopic feature. And then this is for yet another drive system, a windmill, which people, we only tried it for 2 years, 2 years, and it was voted out because it, when the windmill apparatus is on there, there's 4 people in the middle of the vehicle that have to deal with it. It's in their space that normally they wouldn't have to share with it. So it got voted out. They said if I could come up with a better way to hide the water or the windmill system from the pedalers so they're not running into it or having to shift their back. Yeah, so let's see, keep going around, following the jack shaft through to this is pedalers, 5 and 6. So then it goes into the transmission. This first loop of chain you see is like our middle gear. Then there's our really low sand gear. And then up here, this one in the front, the center of the picture, all the light on it, that's our highway gear. You can actually see the shift dog real good on the highway gear there. The one half is showing, the other half you can't, it's on this. And then these have shift dogs as well. See if I can, yeah, there you go. You can see those notches. When things line up, they'll drop right in. We run slow enough. You wouldn't want to do this with a car. See how white's on white there? It's in its middle range right now. And see, those markings are so you can tell when they're lined up. Because there's no shift indicator really other than the handle. Oh, and speaking of shift, there's the fork mechanism. See right there? This ring around the outside, that allows the lever to grab a hold. Those rollers right there, that ring goes through those rollers, and that's the shift dog arm. Basically pushes it in and out of gear, which is out of gear right now. It's in a middle gear rather than a highway gear. The front right water pilot. Of course, here's the front right wheel. See, and they all turn easy. This thing's just really, it's in beautiful condition. It could go, if race day were 2 days from now, all you have to do is hustle a team. The machine's ready to go. It's been ready to go for 2 years. And over that 2 years, I've made slow modifications to it. which I've never been able to, I haven't had an opportunity to test. The year we had COVID, they were ready. And actually, I'll show you one of them right here. This truck never had, what do you call it? A traction bar of sorts for the rear axle. And so as we go in sand, really heavy sand, it still takes the same amount of force. I mean, it's a lighter vehicle. Let's see if I can get my finger out of the camera. And then find the camera. Oh, this is hard. I need to switch hands is what I need to do. Okay, there we go. So looking for the pumpkin. Oh, there it is. It's in the, okay. So that guy right there, you see how it's lined up right now? Oops. Okay, there we go. Okay, there's a little bend, and that allows, right now the vehicle's up in the air. It is, the jack stands are on the axles, so if you got up on the machine, you actually feel the suspension. It's as if it's sitting on steel wheels right now, and the wheels it actually has are up in the air. See, the jack stands, I don't know, let's see. They're holding up the rear axle, trust me. I think we got them there. I think you can see, yeah, there's a jack stand over there. Anyhow, the traction bar, let's see, I can't get it in the image. There, is that it? That's it. Where? I keep losing it. I gotta look at it from down here, I guess. Excuse me here, I'm just gonna shuffle myself here. Oh, this is comfy. I like this. Okay, so now I built a traction bar. So it's basically a V-shaped 2x2, 1/8" wall steel. They all come to a point here. This is bolted a little loose. I mean, I have it, there's a rubber hose wrapped around that bolt going through this, and then there's two washers, one on each end to keep the rubber in there. So it has a little, it's able, you know, the rear axle can twist one wheel from the other in the air, and it'll still do it. Your normal traction bar would be one on this side going right to the base of the, here I'm like showing you what I want to show you. A traction bar would normally go here to there, and I just brought them to one point. Traction bars are for drag racing, and usually you're on flat ground. So any kind of sway you can get rid of is a good thing. Keeps your vehicle kind of rigid on the ground. This, it needs to be able to really transition to go over the dunes. So that's that one. Well, I did another, what did I do? A transmission kind of rehab on the water drive. No, on the four-wheel drive, excuse me. On the four-wheel drive up front, here. Okay, so here we are. We're on the front right part of the machine. Let me just change up this light. Hang on. I keep forgetting it's got a magnetic base, and I can go hands-free of the flashlight anyway. See if I get a light on it, and there we go. So if you look in here, this rectangle piece, oops. Come on now. Okay, so I can push left and right. So now it's in two-wheel drive. I just felt this wheel right next to me. It spins real easy. And now if I pull it back and spin, there we go. Do you see that? Let's see if I can do that again. So here we are in neutral. Now I can, or not neutral, four-wheel drive. And now it's in free, so the front wheels are not powered. And now, bring it over. I'm just gonna have to shoulder the tire. There you go, see that jump. I think we got that on film. So that was added. The year before adding this, I put a wrench in the works. Basically, this is the front axle right here. And this control rod goes through a rubber bushing when it's connected to this. And so that in the past allowed it to do this, and the reason I've changed that is this was originally meant for a leaf spring. The front axle is a different axle than what came on a Ford. So we went from coil over up here, the normal, what came on the Ford, to leaf spring on the Jeep Cherokee. So I had to, the first couple of races, the front axle, as people were struggling in the dunes, you could see this whole axle pumpkin twisting. I had a control rod going up here, but that didn't stop. It just, I don't know how to describe it. It's not enough triangulation yet. So, ooh, sorry about the shaky camera. Yeah, that upper, can't remember, I think I took the bracket on that guy. Yeah, I think I ended up removing. When I did here, when I welded the wrench in, I went ahead and removed that upper control rod that I tried doing there. It wasn't working, and this and that would compete with each other. So I just defeated one and put a wrench in the works. And this is actually done the race, I think, once or twice now. I've lost count, because I've told people, engineering refs and stuff like that, I literally welded a wrench in the works to get things to work right. So this acts as a traction bar. The other side still can swivel, so the axle can do this side to side as it goes over the dunes and uneven surfaces. It can still swing it to and fro like this, but it can't twist and then jam up. Where is it? It can't jam up the oops. Hello. Can we see? Can I get my fingers out of the picture? There it is. Okay, so that's the pumpkin. So that universal joint right there, that UV, yeah, there. Oop, there we are. Okay, so that one doesn't get over twisted. You see it's kind of bent now. When it's down on the ground and then it's got humans on board, the axle, or they come more straight in line. So it's perfectly compensated. So we're trying to keep the least amount of rolling resistance we can on this thing. And you'd be surprised, 2,000 pounds, I can shove it around even in my cancerous state. I just need flat ground, that's all. But yeah. Okay, I'm shining the light all over the place and I'm not looking at what I'm doing here. Okay, I'll give you one more sweeping view. That's my little red moped in the back there, for those not familiar. Okay, wow. All right. Oh, yeah. Of course, for those who don't know, there's all the bicycle seats of the main deck. Yeah. Now, I think I actually was supposed to come out here for something and thought, ooh, good time to film something. So yeah, it's me here. I'm just gonna guess that this is a good shot. Who's your daddy? Yeah, no tripod out here. Okay, oops, sorry for whooping things around. I think you're seeing it. Little red moped. This is like the clutch. Engage, slack the drive belt. I thought this was pretty slick how I there's the motor drive. Down there at the bottom. And when you engage see that guy moving along there? Oh, there we are. See how it tightens up the belt. And it feels kind of Harley-like. You can really feel the strokes of the piston at low speed, and you've got a good solid connection to the motor, and you're just throttling up. It's got, yeah, it's a good, kind of a cool, old-timey, used to have fender skirts. God, I've got a lot of projects, but yeah, fender skirts were both cool looking but problematic. I mean, if you have a flat tire, you have to deal with them. This kind, the wheel has to come off an axle, so the axle doesn't come with the wheel. So if you want a fender skirt on there, you'd have to take the fender skirt off. And basically that's how I had them mounted on 4 screws. So if I had a flat tire, I could change them fairly quickly. That's what those wings are right there and there. That's how you slip it down, click it on, and then I think there's an upright. Can't see, it's all dark down there. Anyhow, yeah, the old shop's kind of emptying out. Anybody want a couple table saws? I got a fairly recent one and then a much older one in the other shop with where the Beetle's at, Herbina. Got a V8 engine project that, yeah, it turns over. I mean, physically you can turn it, so that's a good thing. Transmission. Yeah, I think the engine's complete as far as I can tell. It's got some parts off it, but they're all boxed up and with it. Yeah. So I'll probably have to, I don't know if they've got a copyright on what I'm listening to, but I gotta keep talking. I fear I get, or we'll get hung up on here. Here, let's see if we can escape the sound by, yeah, that's the cans I was knocking around with my feet. Okay, so now, yeah, check her out. That fluorescent light's got a greenish, it's supposed to be yellow, but to me it looks more green. Yeah, Flying Frenzy. It's supposed to be moving out of here. I dug it out, got everything away from it. Anybody need a 9-inch machining lathe? It could be made to work immediately, but it needs some parts eventually. I mean, there's some broken, it had fallen over on its face, I think because of earthquake or whatever. And it fortunately fell on like something else, but that something else still was capable of breaking, some hand wheels on it. There we are. Yeah, I think one for sure. I thought there was yeah, 2. So there's one down here and one up there. So basically both linear and cross feed. That's too bad. Anybody like some Hoosier art? It's not a complete tire, it's just the sidewall. I know I have at least 2 of them. Yeah, there's 2 there. Kind of cool wall decorations. Redo the lettering, you know, give them a bath and redo the lettering. And this is kind of like the dry storage area. That's 1 bag of aluminum cans collected during COVID. There's some more Hoosier tire. Those are my last 2, I think I'm down to. So don't think I'll do anything with them, but if somebody were gonna make a chopper, 2-wheel chopper, there's your start right there. I can show you how to make rims if you want to do them in steel. You can do them in other things. You can make wooden rims actually, and then just do an inner tube, 2 inner tubes inside. I've seen people do that, you know, trying to make a lighter wheel. ATC wheels here. Yeah, some cardboard tubage. There's some more sidewalls, but I think these are, oh no, that's a trash tire. That's not a race tire. A set of pond pans. Oh, this is a hot knife or hot wire. Basically, you can plug it in, tune it to just the right, you know, in a low light room, you want it so the rod's just, or wire's just starting to glow. For thinner plastics, and as you do thicker plastics, you want to turn up the heat, but not too much. Some old skids. I don't know what I'm going to do with just put it out in the alley and see if it grows legs. Yeah, cherry picker. Handy for wheeling around the lathe. The lathe doesn't have, that'd be a cool thing, but I don't think you actually want lathes on wheels. If anything, it needs to be bolted down and balanced. Yeah. See, I was on a mission, and I came in here, and then I got sidetracked by making a video of Kinetic Carl in my super secret Kinetic Lab of Wonders. Give you the, yeah. See if we can get that door out of the way and get back enough to get a full shot. Oops, sorry about the carriage. Running into stuff. All the earthquakes and Who's Your Daddy's stayed on our block or stands. You know, like I said, about 1,900 pounds. I think it's 1,986 or something last time I weighed it. I forgot, it was something just under 2,000. 10 human, kinetic. Oh, I don't think I explained it. So the propeller, you know, in the back can do this to get down into the water and then lock, and then you engage and everybody pedals and the water drive turns. So then you can unlock it when we're done, just flip the water drive in neutral. Well, to make it do the swing up, uses this crank right here, and there's a release. This one, the lighter cable here, you pull that, and if you've backpedaled this so the cable's just a little loose, you know, got some slack in it, you hit that release bar, and then the water drive will come down some and then stop, and then you just let it down the rest of the way, turning this crank right here. Gets all the way to the bottom and it'll lock in, or you could do the vice versa. Once it's down at the bottom, you're all done. You can pedal it back up. Locks in the top position if we're not going in the garage. And again, that's this hand crank for raising and lowering, and this second cable for the first one, where my finger lines up, that lighter one there. The other cable up there, if you pull that while we're in the water and pedaling like forward, it'll just switch the water drive. There's a gearbox at the bottom where that propeller is, or up where it is now at that odd angle. But anyhow, it'll go forward reverse. So you can be in the water and back up from the dock. If we're coming in and we want to stop in the water, first off, they stop pedaling it altogether. It'll slow down, but the thing still glides, so you can actually shift it into reverse while people are not pedaling is a good time, and just have one pilot who's doing the shifting into reverse, pedal slowly, and you'll click, and then we can say, okay, I pedal, and then at that point the water drive will pull us back from the dock. We've used it a couple times to just hang at the head of the dock or just ahead of the dock, while we're waiting for our turn to get out of the water and somebody's having a water problem. We've been able to stay in one place. Sometimes if there's enough of a jam up at the water entry or exit and they're telling you to just hang tight, that's a good time to, if you've got room to do it, take a glory lap. And we've done that in the past where if we're far enough out in the water, we do a complete turn in the water. And this thing will turn pretty sharply because you can yank on these handlebars here and turn that water drive way over, and it'll push it around. And if that's a year where we have it connected. Right now it's there's a front bow thruster, and that's up here in the ceiling. And we're looking at it upside down. This is the propeller that's down in the water, and there's a chain. The loop of chain actually goes through the inside of this steel pipe. And the steel pipe, it's like thick wall, I forget what flavor, pipe. Here it comes. I think it's 12 feet or so of pipe. And then the chain comes out, goes between a couple of adjusting idlers. You can adjust the tension on the chain and it goes around and then back up. And this is where the hand power is. And you can, the idea with the chain inside that tube, when it's going through the center of the frame here, we can't actually put it on until the vehicle's out in this area where there's more than 82 inches of ceiling height. But you see that slot in the deck. I'll back up so you can see the hole. So we're on top of the sculpture. This is on the deck looking forward. Looked like we got a permit there too, or some kind of citation. I can't read it. But anyhow, that water drive goes through here. This frame can literally lift out. You install the water drive, you drop this frame down, or this deck member back in, and then the rest, that water drive goes through, believe it or not, can get through right all this by turning and cranking the propeller as you go down. So the water drive cranks the pedals and stuff. There we are. That'll be up top, and then that white stuff on there, I think, is somebody's idea of I don't know. I think when the thing is stowed and people want to sit on the deck or something, I can't imagine why. There's nothing rough there. I don't know why I got white tape wrapped around it, but anyhow, maybe it was to make it look different for the art. But yeah, goes all the way down into the water, and you can pull that. If you line it up like it is right now, you can pull it right up out of the water, and there's a pin along the side where you can literally lock it in. The pin actually goes right through the chain. Chain's not going to be spinning, so the pin is able to go right through and lock it. And then when it's in the down position where you're actually pedaling, there's a collar on there, and the whole weight of it is probably right about where that white tape is, or so. There's a collar, trust me, stops it from going down any further, so it's at full depth. But right now that water drive can't be installed. Like I say, the garage door here is 82 inches, and that thing's I think 20 more inches up in the air than that. So that's why I made it removable. There's also a sail kit up here. You'll see a propeller. That's not connected to anything. It's just wired up and hanging from the ceiling. But that sail all wrapped up, that can be attached to the machine, and we begin to look more like a pirate ship, especially because there's pirate symbols and Lost Coast mutineers and whatnot. But it's all the rigging is wrapped in the sail, and then all the rope rigging goes around the outside like a burrito, and it can hang from the ceiling there. Again, too tall to come in. It actually has the ability to fold down though during race. We can actually put it up, and then if we undo the 2-4 riggings, we can actually swing the whole thing down. The cables kind of come up and go into a binder, so they're not in the pilot's business. And the sail rests right on the back between these two pilots. It actually comes down and lands on this frame handlebar here. Perfect, not in the way. And sometimes when we have wind, it actually helps us, like on the water, we've actually looked like we're actually sailing with the sails full in the right direction, and we were using it for a little while anyway. We had to tack to make, it was one of the years where we were going from Samoa Bridge to, Adorney Center, or no, further, I don't know, something like that. Yeah, here. So anyhow, Kinetic Carl, here in my super secret Kinetic Lab of Wonders. Anyhow, you can see he's had a rough life. He's got a little greasy action going. That's from all the swinging when we're riding, and there's a steer chain right above. Oh yeah, might as well show you that. For some of you, you don't.
Are you there?
Yeah,
we're sure you away.
No, we're still here, Sully. We'll do a little more splaining, and you'll get to spin around, Sully, when I do this splaining. So here we have the main steering wheel for the whole sculpture right here. There's even an 8-ball on there. Pretty handy for like when we're moving along and I need to steer really fast, because this is all geared down like 7-to-1, like a regular truck. I think it's 7-to-1 from a regular truck steering. So it's a lot of turns of this wheel to get the steering to turn, which you need that on the dunes. And it gives the also gives the pilot, like when we hit a bump with this, you don't feel it in the steering wheel. I mean, if it's a really hard bump, you might notice it, but otherwise this thing really doesn't send back any steering negative steer back into the steering wheel. So there you have it. That steer, all these sprockets basically boil down to one working sprocket. The two are just decorative outside. You'll see I've bent the teeth over. They're basically chain deflectors to keep the chain on that steer sprocket. Since it's laying sideways, it's biased to want to come off if it can. So the bottom sprocket for sure is just to keep that steer chain right where we want it. So when I turn the steering, you see how that works, okay? It can turn a lot many more times than that, but I've only got the ability to grab onto half of it when I'm down here. So let's follow that chain. So it goes into these white tubes. One of the white tubes and turns into a red tube. And that idler, I've cut kind of a cool little notch into the side of the tube. The chain is actually rubbing on this on its side, okay? Because right now, inside that tube, the chain is busy twisting to meet, I think the shortest twist is going this way, to meet that upper idler. Here, I'm gonna try to get you in there. Okay, so this sprocket in the center of the picture, when I turn the steering wheel, okay, so that first chain we're talking about going over that idler in the middle, or under it, I mean, and goes onto this sprocket, which again is surrounded by two chain rings like you'd put on a bicycle to protect your pant leg from getting munched, or any, tries to keep you basically safe. But I'm using it as a chain guide. So the chain can't leave this sprocket until it comes off down here. And let's see, it's all dark. There it is. Okay, so that chain right there, follow that down, down, down. It goes past, let's see, we're looking right down it. It's out of focus in the center of the image here. You see it goes onto another sprocket, again, with aluminum discs on either side of the sprocket, so the chain has nowhere to go but on that sprocket. Steering's really critical on this thing. You can't afford to lose it. So here's that gear again with the aluminum plates on both sides. Let's see if I can turn it from here by using this idler. See how that works. Okay, so now there's a universal joint. Used to have the original vehicle had a collapsible universal joint for safety for the driver, the pilot, the operator. Okay, so there's that big aluminum disc. You'll see the shaft coming out of it. There's a universal joint right close to there. You can't, it's all dirty, but trust me, it's there. Oh wait, no, excuse me. This is all one long shaft. The universal joint is here. Excuse me, I found it. I'm talking out my ass. I haven't looked at this vehicle in a long time, so yeah, bear with me. So this is the steer. So the steer shaft, that sprocket surrounded by aluminum plates, comes over here, goes through this universal. I can't turn it much. I'm actually laying on one of the wheels, so I can feel that it wants to push me to the right side of the vehicle. So there you have that universal joint, and then the old, this is actually the original Ford steer box. Where is it? Hang on. Get some light in here. There we are. It's all lit up. That's the steer box. Of course, the adjuster on it. Got it just so the gears, they just, the easiest thing to turn that. Okay, then of course that goes to the from here, it transitions from Ford. Oop, where's that arm? I don't think we can get a good look at it from here. Go around this side. Because this is a Cherokee front axle. Other than a 5-gallon bucket in the way. I don't know if we can see in there. That's the bottom, that's the master cylinder, brake lever pusher, converts from a rod or shaft to a push, you know, for like a brake. It's hydraulic brakes. It's an old, that's a 1966 Ford, that's a Ford single. I can't get you the steering box is just, it's buried down in there. Where's that control? See there's the input shaft of the steering, right? Oh no, that's the four-wheel drive universal joint off the transmission. Goes through a universal joint, then goes to the front axle. Can't trust me, it's down there. There's one of the tie rod between the left and the right. Oh yeah, I forget. Okay, so Ford had the, you know, the swing arm suspension, so it had a different style. I was thinking of those. They've been on the vehicle the longest, but this actually just has two rods, one to the right, one to the left. And they actually co-share a connection on the steering arm, which is right, we're trying to get in the center of the picture. Yeah, right there, just to the left of the jack stand. If I could light that up. Yeah, there we are. That control arm is actually, you'll see that's going off to the right side, and it's coupled off, you know, off the longer shaft here, and only the longer shaft connects with the Pitman arm. So this doesn't have a Pitman arm on the left, it just has a single, which is a simpler suspension for off-road, easier to manage, actually has more ground clearance than other tie rod systems. And of course there's no oil pan, because the humans, they each have their own oil pan and they can empty their oil whenever they want. They can't do it. I prefer they get off the vehicle before they do it. Oh, yeah, single, double drive, I don't know. I may have lied about that being a single. I thought it was a single. I see two lines coming off it. Here, try to, somebody will yell at me and tell me what flavor that is, but it works. Everything is great. I've got hydraulic front and rear brakes. A funny feeling, I can't remember. Yeah, and I think the front brakes kick in way before the rear brakes, which is okay. The front brakes are for when you're on the sand or in traffic, and we only do 7 miles an hour typically cruising speed. Sometimes slower, up, you know, headed uphill, or sometimes, you know, we can actually confuse the cars because this thing, when it goes downhill, it can collect speed. It freewheels quite nicely. And with, you know, 4,000 pounds between humans and machine, that makes for quite the ride. So here's something I just remembered. I added this it's been here for multiple years, during the pirate years for sure. You yell into this, and at the back of the machine, there's another funnel right in the center of the picture there, and they can hear you, or they can holler back in it, and the noise comes out right at the pilot, and the pilot, oh hey, somebody at the back's trying to get my attention. Okay. It was taped to face straight up, but I think to get it in the shop, it's better to untape it and let it bend down, because it sticks up and runs into everything as you come in the shop. We even have cup holders on this machine. And again, each pilot, 9 pilots have 24 speeds to choose from. And then the captain seat has 72, I think, to choose from. There's a 3-speed hub hidden inside this rear right here. Instead of just a regular hub, there's actually a whole nother 3-speed mechanism inside. So that's 3 times 24 makes 72. So this pilot has 72 gears to choose from, which makes, if you put it in super low sand and super low up here, this one pilot can literally go up parking ramps. Like if you want to get the front end higher up in the air, one pilot can pedal it up parking ramps and stop on the top of the parking ramps. It's kind of shady because the parking ramps aren't as wide as the Hoosier Daddy tires. So when you get up on top, if the ramp doesn't have the side rails curved too, the machine has a tendency to run off the ramps. So I just C-clamp a couple of boards to the end of the ramps as chocks, and you can just nail it up there. It'll bounce off the chocks, but it won't back roll a whole lot. If you get on right when you hit the chocks, if you just clamp on the brakes, it's fine. But yeah, it's really kind of fun machine to ride. I wish it were better weather. All this talk and looking at it every now and then, in the past anyway, I'd open up the shop doors way out of season and just take her for, drop her down onto the pavement, make sure her tires are aired up, and go for a single ride around the block, going is that westbound, and then or northbound. I always lose. Yeah, that's northbound, and then go around the block, head east, come around the front side of the house. Come around the front side of the house, and then park it. I'd just ride right up the curbs, boom, boom, and onto the front lawn and park, and just leave it out there for a day. And at the end of the day, usually I'd take the time with the machine out of the garage to do a good shop cleaning. Even though doors stay closed, you'd be surprised how much rubbish comes through this gap. It's actually, I guess because we've had all this rain. The only rubbish is my aluminum cans, which I need to crush. So yeah, front rack here has the pontoons on it, 1 and 2. And then all the hardware is kind of hidden under the main frame here. There's a hidden rack. See these tubes right here? See if I can get you a better view. Those tubes, all that's float gear. And you take the big tubes, the longer of the big ones. The reason you want the longer up front is so the pontoons are slightly spread apart. They still come back even at the back. They're perfectly parallel, but the longer tube is because, gosh, I don't know how to explain this. But anyhow, the long tube goes up front, the slightly shorter tube goes back here. Then there's a triangle. These protective guys right here, those come off, and there's a frame clicks onto here with bolts holding it in, and it goes on top of this tube that's sticking out here, creates a triangle, and that's in part of the outrigger. So there's a whole nother triangular outrigger back here going, the tube is right here. There's a bracket clicks on, which is a big metal triangle, plugs into these right there as well, and then comes back here. So it's super strong. It's just a triangle. Really cool element to build. That's why early bikes are all triangles, makes them super sturdy. Anyhow, that clicks on. Then there's 2 aluminum tubes and hardware that goes on the bottom of all that, and then the pontoons underneath that. And these are what hold the weight of the machine when it's in the water. These bottom ones do. And then when it's out of the water, these upper ones just hold the weight of these tubes in position. Or when we're out of the water and the float gear's on, there's a little more weight on them, but it's really, this is super strong. Again, it's mostly triangular system, and it allows for adjusting the height. So if we have a lot of pilots and the machine's really sunk down low, I'll cheat these loose a little bit, and then I'll tighten these up and basically kind of lifts this frame up and gives us more ground clearance, I can then also do the same up front. Again, these have these eye bolts, or what do you call it? Yeah, turnbuckles. And you can adjust the elevation. Although up here, it's as you go up, you have to go back. So that means you have to go back on the rear one. So because the hardware is all spaced out, you know. Anyhow, trust me, you can only go up and out of course so far before this outside triangle says I can't get connected. You know, it allows for some adjustment, but this triangle only will let only so much adjustment before you're just too far and you're forcing. But yeah, it's just steer chain. So this isn't crazy speed chain. I mean, it's not gonna, it's been on here for years and it's only got a couple of nicks in this tube. So it's not doing any major damage. Before race, everything gets a good lubrication, and boy, does that take a long time. There's 2 chains for every pilot, except for even including the front 2 pilots. They're 2 chain system. You know, they're regular 24 speed loop a chain on the bike. Oop, there we are, regular on the, you know, right here, front 3 here, 3 regular derailleur type sprockets back, or 6 or 8, yeah, 24 speeds ultimately between these 2. Then this 3-speed hub, then the chain down to the driver, and this is another twist chain drive. Okay, see that sprocket right in the center of the image. See if I can pedal this around a couple times. Trust me, it's going through. You can't see it move inside these chain tubes, so I'm just gonna swing down here. You follow those chain tubes, and right in the center of the picture, see if I can bring this in. Right there is a cool little idler set. So as that front pilot pedals, the chains not only twist as they come down here, but then they go over this idler, they start to twist in again. And I'm gonna run out of the ability to get my camera out of here. So there they are. They're the 2 chains coming off that idler. You see them going to 2 different places now. I'm going to try to follow this one up. Where am I? I've lost vision. I can't get my, I'm not even going to try to get the flashlight in here, but anyhow. Yeah, that steer, we're looking for, we're on the pilot, we're not on the steer, we're on the pilot. So it's going right across into that derailleur and then turning that sprocket right in the center. Just a little cast of light on it. That is actually pilot 1's driveline connection. And the chain goes around that and then goes back through these twists and back through those idlers, or idler, one of them, all the way up to the top and pays the chain on. So when the pedaler's pedaling, this is the chain under tension. Whoops, where's my finger? Okay, this is the chain, pilot, right? Okay, there's their secondary. Whoop. These are steel guards. Over the years, I've improved the ends of my my chain entry, and this keeps the chain going on track. As it comes back from being driven, it's going over the top. Okay, so the pilot basically is there. This one's in tension when the pedaler's pedaling. That keeps the chain going this away, goes back down through here, all the way down, all the way down. Yep. And again, yeah, twist chain drive. Let's see if I can do it again here. I think we're in 4-wheel even. Yep. You see those Hoosier tires turn. Yeah. What do you think, Sully? Turn you back around here. Dadgummit. Kinetic Carl here, along with Sully, inside the super secret Kinetic Lab of Wonders. Signing out.
Hey, buddy. Scare you later.
Exactly.